So I just got done watching the recent Star Talk that Neil deGrasse Tyson did with Mark Floatingberg, and even though this video won't be about astrophysics, it will be on the state of the so-called metaverse that Mark is trying to build and most likely rule because I have a feeling he has some sort of god complex. I mean, once you cross a certain threshold of money, how can you not have one, right? Like, at what point does having so many assets, money, ownership, whatever you want to call it, becomes unethical? Ooh, juicy questions we got going on here. But I won't be answering that until another episode. Point is, they were showing off some version of Meta's VR world. I mean, it's basically VR chat too, but just backed by the piggy bank that is owned by Scrooge McDuck himself, poured into it, and a way to capitalize off of it, more than likely with targeted ads. Now, of course, as I was watching this, and shouts out to Neil for giving Zuckerberg a tour of the universe as if he doesn't already want to dominate it. Like, I'm sure Zuckerberg already knew this shit, and he was just shaking his little virtual head as if he was actually following along. Motherfucker, you've already dominated all those galaxies you were looking at, and you know it. Earth is just another conquest. But their state of VR is a little shit. Like, it's kind of worse than VR chat. Like, damn, the obvious one I could observe was the lack of legs. How much money does it take to program some legs? Let me guess, an arm and a leg. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, whenever the leg update comes out, I'm sure that shit will be kicking, but right now the plans don't seem to be afoot. And textures were awful as hell. Like, they need to download some texture packs and shaders for that shit. Like, it feels like the shit is being developed for mobile using the Google Cardboard. But I get it. This is still early development. I don't want to tiptoe around the issue, although that's not the only issue being tiptoed around. But despite that fact, it looks really, really bad. This doesn't even look pre-alpha, but let's get on the topic of whatever the metaverse is and what it's supposed to be. Now, for those that don't know, I am a baby developer slash programmer, still working in that area. Only been doing it officially for about a year now, and I've been doing heavy digging into what the metaverse is. And after all that digging and after all this time, I've came to the PhD level conclusion that literally no one knows what the metaverse is. If someone claims to know, they don't. It's just a theory. The reason why no one knows is because it doesn't even exist. The idea of the metaverse is more vague than Mark Zuckerberg's facial expressions. What one person thinks the metaverse is, another thinks different. No one can come to 100% agreement because it hasn't even been established yet. I do have some concerns, but I think I'll save that for another video, like in terms of the metaverse, like, mental health concerns and all that fun stuff. But my biggest concern, and one I can talk about briefly right now, is the idea of corporations, or even corporations owning large portions of the metaverse, whatever it turns out to be. If it's anything similar to how Mark envisions, where it's basically how the internet is now, but just in VR, where we spend most of our time in, I'll have to say fuck that. And let me tell you why. Think of the internet now. The internet can basically be summarized in a couple of apps, honestly. All ran by corporations. Everything just feels for profit. If you grew up in the early days of the internet, like I totally didn't, then you knew how free it felt. Surfing the web back then compares to nothing surfing now. When you went to when you went to a website, it was literally the creation of people's creative work, and you didn't know what you would expect. The website had an actual personality that's hard to describe, at least now. It was as if the websites themselves were an art piece. Like, of course, they weren't pretty as they are now, but they felt authentic, made by real people rather than corporate bots. Where I'm going with this is I think whatever the metaverse should be and will be, that is, if it doesn't die out, because the world has an attention span of a goldfish, it should be democratized and even open sourced. It should truly be for everyone rather than a few who control it. Kind of like how VR chat is currently. There's a video by this one YouTuber that explains perfectly on how VR chat relates to the old internet. Plus, VR chat seems to be steps and not just awkwardly floating ahead of Meta's VR world shit. But I won't go too deep into this as I really just wanted to joke and poke fun about the funny lizard man, and all that really is in itself an episode on its own. And any chance I get to poke fun about the slow fucking development and the midlife crisis that Meta and Zuckerberg is facing, I'm stepping all over that shit. Meta, formerly Boomerbook, aka Facebook, is basically that one parent of your friends that is driving you and your friend group over to the mall, trying to fit in and use all the cool slang to desperately try and be relatable. But ultimately, it just comes out as cringe, like genuine cringe, not the meaning how people use it today. I saw people throw around that word cringe like how they threw around gay and faggot back in 2009. Like, it's basically lost all meaning. Anyway, like, dislike, subscribe, comment, share, just do anything to interact with this information. Like, if you want to send this to your friends so you can both just like bomb me or something, I just want engagement, positive or negative, I don't care. It doesn't faze me. Or you can just simply let me know how you feel about this video and the topics at hand. Or should I say feet.